guys, Brian Stevens over here with Mortgage Shots. Today I have my good friend, and I don't say that lightly, good friend Mike Fisher. He's with Ross Mortgage, and he's also the creator of Veterans Mortgage Advisors. Now, if you as a real estate agent or a lender, if you've noticed a higher level of interest in helping veterans, you can track that right back to Mike Fisher. That's the truth. There's been other groups that have cropped up since then, but if you want to look at the genesis of really focusing on our veterans across the country, Mike's activities has helped a lot of veterans, real estate agents, and loan officers alike. So, Mike, how we doing today?
Doing great, man. It's starting to warm up a little bit in Michigan. The real estate market's heating up a little bit. In theory, rates are trickling down a little bit. So yeah, lots of reasons to be happy.
So today, Mike, what we want to talk about, and I think this is a great topic, is being a nice guy, nice gal in the mortgage market right now. Is that enough? And I want to talk about really our activities as a nice guy, both inside the bookends and outside of the bookends of activities that we choose to engage in and activities that we don't choose to engage in, and how that affects the loan officer's ultimate ability to go ahead and earn an income, particularly in these difficult times. So let's start there. Is being a nice guy good enough?
Brian, you see all these mortgage coaches and branch managers and people who have been around a long time talk about relationships. Like, you got to get out there and you got to make more relationships. And people like you if you do things right and you're ethical and you're cool to them or nice to them or whatever direction you want to look at it. And that's kind of the crux of what we're talking about today. Like is that same style of just putting your name out there and shaking lots of hands, is that enough right now in today's world for somebody that's newer to the industry, somebody that's struggling to make it? There's some folks that I talk to on a daily basis that are like, they master their craft and they're good at relationships and they're really good at mortgage products and they don't make mistakes and they close things quickly and they get really fair prices and all their clients love them and give them, multi-star reviews, but they don't make the top producers list. Sometimes you say, well, that's okay, but then when you dig deeper, they're still not happy with their business and they want more out of it. And that's kind of the crux. So why is that person who's really, really good at their job not helping more people? Like they're the best. And then we're going to complain about this other company that's out there that's the worst, but that company's doing lots of deals. So wait a second, something's askew. Something doesn't make sense, right? So why is that? Why is it that some people in this industry, are good at relationships and good at what they do, and and like I said, they're nice, but they're just not quite getting what they need to get?
You know what I think it is I think people don't want to come across as pushy. You can find the person who has a higher level of arrogance and cocksuredness and self-confidence and those type of attributes, and maybe doesn't know the industry as well as that loan officer, as you said a moment ago, in the back of the room, and because they're a little bit more pushy, that's getting them business to where the polite loan officer is going to see those type of tactics as being uncouth or maybe too pushy or maybe rude or maybe too intrusive. And the truth is, in a market like we're in right now, I don't know if that's going to if that's going to service you very well. And I think in years past in decent markets, the nice fella or gal, that would work out just fine for them. But as we've gone from, I think, 1.4 million to 700 and some odd thousand loan officers, literally cutting the number of loan officers in half over just the past couple of years, and that number is going to continue to go down. Those who are still in the industry and the companies that they work for are getting more desperate, and as a consequence, getting more pushy, which means it's even more difficult for the quiet guy who's the wallflower to go out there and get a bigger piece of the business. And the truth is, you're doing clients a disservice. You're doing clients a disservice if you've got great products and great rates, but you just are too polite to go out there and have those conversations in a manner that you, again, would find too pushy.
Well, the ethical, polite salesperson looks at that other person across the aisle and says, hey, that person's like a salesman, and sales is like a dirty word. And they in their mind build it up into like in some way, shape, or form, I don't want to be the person that's influencing people too much in a pushy way. Like, I want them just to kind of come to me and come to me naturally. And that's not something that's easy to do without understanding like sales processes and marketing and things like that. Now, I know loan officers that really aren't pushy at all, and they do a ton of loans, but they have a method behind their madness. Their marketing is so on point that their customers see them all the time, and they see them educating and advocating and doing lots of cool things that remind people constantly, like, hey, I would go to this guy for a mortgage. But it takes a thought process to build that, and you have to understand a little bit about selling and marketing and staying in front of people and different methods of social media and text and email and all that kind of stuff to do that. It doesn't just come by being cool one person at a time, unless you're like really, really, really good at getting people to remember you. I know loan officers like that too. Like you talk to somebody one time on the phone, and next thing they know, they have like 20 referrals coming in. You know people like that, right, Brian?
Sure, sure, yeah. I mean, there's Pied Pipers out there, and really, if you think about it, like you can't afford to sit the fence in these markets and succeed. You have to go out there and earn the business. You got to go out there and club it in the head and drag it back to the cave. A couple of things that I want to share with you here, and this is from the St. Louis Fed. If we look at new privately owned housing unit starts, so this would be our new home builders. And again, we know that we're 6 million units behind in terms of the inventory that we have to have. And are we doing anything to fix that? Try this one on for size. Back in 1959, okay, so we're looking at over 60 years ago, we had 1.62 million starts. Now, if we go to today, we are sitting on September 2023, we had 1.356 million starts. We're building fewer homes today than we were in 1959. Now, if we look at this between 59 and 2023, we're pegging right around median, right around average. In other words, half of the chart with new home starts is going to be more than where we're at, and half are going to be below where we're at. So it would lead a loan officer to believe that, hey, things are kind of status quo right now, it's going to get better. The difference is, and we have to understand, is back in 1959, the population of the United States was 177 million. Today, our population is 340 million. In other words, we're doing fewer starts with twice the population. So no, we are not treading water right now, guys. We're sinking. Another thing to consider here is if we go to existing home sales. Back in February of 2023, just a year ago, we had 4.55 million existing homes for sale. Today, we have 3.78 million homes for sale. In other words, we are not getting the new home construction that we need in order to grow this market to become healthy to where you could go ahead and earn a living based on yesterday's sales tactics of being a nice guy. Okay, we're not getting that from new homes, and we're not getting it from existing homes. The truth of the matter is if you want to stay relevant as a loan officer, if you want to be in this business, we can't use our sales tactics of yesterday. It doesn't work.
Going out there and making relationships. I mean, we've heard it. All the sales coaches tell us to do this. Our bosses tell us to do it. We tell ourselves to do it. But is one relationship at a time working as well today as it has in the past? No, it's not, because the average person is in a different position today than they were in the past. A lot of buyers are struggling to figure out how to qualify. They're struggling to figure out how to get a house under contract. I know most loan officers, myself included, they have borrowers that have been sitting in our pipeline pre-approved for like a year or going on 2 years because they just keep losing out and they can't find the house that they want. So how do we manage all of these different people? How do we stay in front of them? How do we keep asking for the business? How do we find the markets where transactions are moving? Those are the kind of questions that you have to start asking yourself, and you have to figure out how to be as efficient as you can with your time while still reminding people to come to you when they need you. And being magnetic, being out there is as important as ever. I've seen some loan officers kind of come in and hit big numbers in this market.
And yeah, not doing it by doing some of the traditional stuff. Like, oh, well, let me tell you, Mike, this is my first year in the industry, and I went to a couple BNI meetings and called on the top 5 realtors in town, and all of a sudden I'm killing it. I don't hear that as much. Nothing wrong with those methods. Those methods work. But what I hear is that the laws are doing some of that stuff, and they're combining like today's tech, today's social media. They're embracing the fact that they need to be like educators and teachers and put themselves out there
where their customers and their referral partners can see them teaching stuff, offering stuff, being authentic, being cool, being nice, being the person they wanted to be, but also reminding people like, hey, come to me when you're ready. I got a ton of 5-star reviews. This is how you get started. Just reminding people to come to them, that you do business, you're great at it, and you're the person that they want to work with. I think that that's an important lesson for everybody in the business right now, is just remembering to ask people to come to you when they're ready. And yeah, sometimes you get the no, but put it out there on everything you do, every single phone call, every email. Just remind people in a cool way.
Listen, When you're looking at your referral partners right now, you're not getting the business you got from them, 5, 6 years ago. And what that means is, the math tells me, well, I need more referral partners. And that's the truth. So if you're a loan officer right now and you had 5 real estate agents who are giving you 1 transaction per month, and you're knocking down 4 to 6 per month, you're feeling pretty good about it. But those 5 or 6 realtors you're working with today are going to give you 1 or 2. That tells me I can't work with 5 or 6. As my, bread and butter type of lock, stock, and barrel real estate agents who are loyal to me. I need to have 15 or 20 of them, meaning we need to double or triple the real estate agents alone who we're working with. I think we also need to start looking more at our B2B opportunities, particularly with the small businesses in our backyard. You think about this. A small business owner is their own database. Everybody who works at any place is their database. But keep in mind, everybody who walks into the front door of whatever shop that is also a database. If we have more meaningful relationships with our B2B partners in those opportunities, have a plan of attack. Be tactical about your approach. Know exactly how you're going to approach them. And yeah, go be a little bit pushy. Get outside of your comfort zone and have those conversations, because just like those real estate agent partners, our small businesses are suffering as well. So I know that that's something that we could do immediately, but what are other strategies that loan officers can go ahead and engage in that are going to help them increase their number of referral partners? What are the strategies on social media that you would use, for example? What are some of the things that you're doing? Inside of veteran mortgage advisory, what are you doing in there that could help a loan officer increase their exposure and increase their number of clients that they work with?
One of the strategies that we use in Veteran Mortgage Advisor program is revolved around being really good at what you do, having a lot of knowledge, but then learning how to teach it, at maybe a 4th or 5th or 6th grade level, to the point where, anybody asks you a question about the VA home loan benefit, you are right on point. You know exactly what to tell them. And that makes it a whole lot easier for you to create marketing pieces and teach classes and do all that kind of stuff. Now, it's a good opportunity because most of the real estate boards in the country still don't have a favorable opinion of the VA home loan. So, you can get into the boards, you can talk to different brokerages and get in there and teach a class and say, like, guys, there's some misperceptions out there, but a lot of times it comes down to the not so good players in the market, and not necessarily the good guys. Like, who you work with matters. A lot of the lenders are not so good at this product. Let's talk about why, and make yourself memorable to the point where those realtors remember you as the VA person. It becomes a lot easier at that point to open the door, to get past the gatekeeper, to have more conversations, to stay in front of more people, because you're seen as the knowledge base, the educator, the person that hey, this person knows what they're doing. And even if you're not their preferred partner, they'll still hit you up for help from time to time, and you can remind them, like, hey, I know you got a preferred partner, but do you have any other realtors that need a good loan officer on your team that maybe I could partner with? There's always ways to get reciprocity out of those kind of relationships. You never know where the reciprocity is going to come from. So, finding something that the market needs, it needs education on VA, becoming the trusted source, you, the person that knows what they're doing, putting your brand out there, and then staying in front of that audience with additional classes, creating closed social media groups, using email lists and texts, and having them follow you again on all kinds of different platforms and profiles, so that when they see you in the marketplace, they know who you are. You're well branded in that marketplace. That's like step 1. And then step 2, find the people that you really like and move that relationship along. Call them, do the coffee things, invite them out. And instead of just going out there and saying, like, hey, I'm a nice guy and all that, you can say, like, look, you've come to my classes, you've learned some stuff. Let's teach you a little bit more. If I show you how to bring in more business, like would you see me more as a partner, not just a vendor? Like, if I can provide enough value where I taught you about this, but I'm going to teach you now how to build a better database and how to do a few more things, because I'm kind of good at that kind of stuff. Let's try to help you build together. So it's more than just being good at your job or nice or relatable. It's learning how can you partner with a lot of different people, provide them some value to the point where, like, the reciprocity just has to come back to you because you're constantly out there helping them, right? I think it could be seen as a long game. You're not buying a trigger lead, or you're not talking to people that asked to buy a house yesterday, but you're staying in front of enough people that you can pick and choose what relationships you want to have. You don't just have to kind of take what's in front of you, because you cast a bigger net, if you will. You're like, I'm going to
Well,
talk to thousands of realtors. I'm going to teach a bunch of people. And out of those groups, I'm going to build relationships with like 30, 40, 50, because I know I might only get 1 or 2 transactions a year from these people, and I want to do 100 deals a year, right? So that's the direction that we go. Is we really try hard to expand our partnerships as much as we can by providing value, you know?
and it's really being an expert. And listen, desperate times also create opportunities. Your referral partners or your potential referral partners, they're not closing the business, as we just said a moment ago. So they're looking for answers. If you're that loan officer who can actually provide some answers, it's going to position you in this bad market, but it's really going to position you when the market shifts. And I want to get back to this point here, but what, Mike, you're really talking about here is you're talking about becoming an expert in a niche. And that's huge. And of course, when we're talking about veterans, it's also tugging on the heartstrings of most people out there. So I think everybody likes the idea of helping our veterans who are getting completely screwed by the federal government and the services that are not being provided for them. But did you know that historically, 4% of homes take a price cut before selling? But currently, only 1% of properties, even though we're being told today that prices are going down, only 1% of properties, less than 1%, are taking price cuts before that property sells. And listen to this. This is the most arrogant thing I've ever heard. The CEO, this guy's name is Mesger of KB Homes. He came out and said, man, the direction the market is going, home builders are going to be in the driver's seat for years to come. The arrogance of that is just unbelievable to me. And Metzger goes on to say, he said, in a normal and balanced housing market, there would be 6 months inventory, and there would be 2.6 million listings around the country. However, we're nowhere close to that level. Today, in months of supply is being quoted in months of 1. We don't have 6, we have 1 month of supply. So instead of 2.6 million homes to choose from right now, did you know that we've got 500,000 homes? We've dropped 2 million plus homes. And of that 500,000 listed, a chunk of that isn't even livable or viable. It's homes that would have to be acquired and torn down and rebuilt. In other words, once again, property values are going up. Home builders are showing an incredible level of arrogance right now. Panache, they would say, I would say arrogance. And getting back to your point, if you're a loan officer and you're a fence setter, you're gonna have to change your ways. You're gonna have to, with your marketing, become the arrow and quit being the target. With respect to kind of the whole idea of niche marketing, I don't understand why more loan officers aren't becoming experts in non-QM. This makes no sense to me at all, because this one's a layup. It's right in front of you, and there's training everywhere. But I want you to think about this: with property values as being as high as they are right now, you could have a client, and that client doesn't qualify. They don't have the ratios. They don't make the income in order to buy the average house. The average house is going for $420,000 right now, and the average income is $57,000. The average person ain't buying the average house, and it's worse in a lot of markets. But think of this. You have alt doc with non-QM, and we all understand what that is for self-employed people. But think of alt doc like this too. You could have somebody who's a teacher, for example, and they're pulling down, just depending on where you're at, $30,000 to $70,000 a year. Well, maybe that teacher has a side hustle. Maybe that teacher has a summer job. But that summer job is income that you cannot use in qualifying ratios. You could use that other income in qualifying ratios if you go non-QM. So non-QM isn't just for the self-employed person. Non-QM is going to open up those W-2 employees who might have a side hustle. And how many people in this market have second jobs right now, or even third jobs? And there's a ton of them, meaning you're leaving deals on the table right now by not engaging non-QM. So I love that idea. Now, when it comes to social media, Mike, what are some of the activities that we can engage in that we otherwise aren't doing because it's just, it doesn't fit me? That's not who I am.
I think a lot of folks don't necessarily follow like how social media works. They don't understand. They see other people doing it and they say, okay, well, I saw Brian do it, or I saw this other LO do it, so I'm just going to copy their posts and think that it's going to work. And they don't understand that, for example, like if you're going to be good at Facebook really likes interaction. Like use the messenger, add lots of friends, talk to them on the messenger, build communities and groups, like really get active with all these people. That's how you get more out of Facebook. It likes the interaction. It likes the stickiness with different people. Um, well, that you're going to go over to TikTok. Okay, well, you got to follow the model that TikTok has. Your content has to be really short. It kind of has to be to the point. It has to have some kind of hook. It can't just be like the same boring stuff over and over. So you got to pay attention a little bit more to how the medium that you're working operates, and just dive into, like, if I'm going to pick one of these social media spheres, how does it work? Well, some of the social media methods out there are really good at helping you find your ideal customer. Like, okay, I'm going to put hashtags on there. I'm going to put very specific links and indicators on my marketing that say exactly what I want. VA loan, realtor in Tampa, realtor in South Carolina. I'm going to put that on my Insta. I'm going to put that over my TikTok. The search
Yeah.
engines are built to help you make those connections, but some people still don't seem to get that. Versus they'll go do that kind of thing on Facebook, which is not set up the same. Facebook is more set up for the interaction. So, again, like using the messenger, asking people questions, putting them into communities and groups, finding them in groups and things like that. One of my good friends, TJ, challenged me, and he was like, Mike, could you jump on social media and find some good realtors in a market that you're not in a short period of time? And I said, absolutely. And he said, well, how would you do it? I said, okay, I'm just going to go find a couple.
Talk to him.
I'm going to go find a couple buy and sell groups. I'm going to ask a few questions. I'm going to see who's tagging some realtors. I'm going to look up their production. I'm going to look at their profiles and see who I think is cool. I'm going to ask them if they want to attend a quick class on building their business through social media. And I'm going to see if I can get a handful of them to come to my class. And then after class, I'm going to ask them, if they have an opening in their space for an extra lender. And I was able to pick up some realtors in Columbus and South Carolina and Columbia and in all over the country in different states I'm licensed in, just by using those methods. Very simple and straightforward, but some people are not doing it. They're just putting a post out there, and then they don't use the messenger. They don't interact with people. They don't talk to them. They don't provide value. They don't teach a class. They don't invite people to a class. They don't look up the person's number and dial them. They don't text them. Oh, social media is not working. What do you mean it's not working? It totally worked. You found a person that was a good producer. You found it, you liked them, and then you had to talk to them a little bit, get them on the phone, maybe show them that you were worth something, invite them to a little seminar that you were given, and then go back and ask for the business. It totally works. But you got to understand the medium that's out there,
It is. It's knowing the animal that you're dealing with. It really is. It's so funny because I see the same misallocation. People talk about how Facebook is right now. I don't like it. I'm sick of it, and I can say that it doesn't work for me. But I'm not engaging it right. I just spoke with the loan officer. It's funny you said that because I spoke with the loan officer yesterday, and he needs to pick up additional referral sources. I said, go find 5 teams, 5 great real estate teams. Okay, let's look them up. Let's go check their friends. Are you friends with them? If you're not, send a friend request over. You got mutual friends, 1 million of them. Okay, do you have mutual friends? Find that mutual friends. We're going to put together a strategy here, and let's go through. And let's take this message and we'll keep it over here on a Word document. We'll keep a couple different messages and we can just copy and paste it. And we can get through this in short order. So he found 5 teams, and with everyone, he found 5 friends or 5 real estate agents that he knew or worked with. I said, send him a message about this strategy, like maybe working with veterans or maybe strategies with non-QM. And tell them that you have like a strategy that other lenders aren't using right now and you think you could drum up some business. Now, as we put this together and he's reaching out to these team leaders or these buyer's agents of these team leaders or both of them, let's just go bait the hook and let's start casting more lines out there. As he was doing this, and I said, okay, you've got it in there. Hit go. Send right now. And he goes, oh my God, this feels so weird to do. I'm like, why? He's like, because I don't know him. I said, well, get out of your own damn way. Quit being the fucking nice guy. Get out of your way and hit go. Because if you want to get more business, here's what you have to do. You have to talk to more people. I'm Brian Stevens, and that's the rest of my presentation. Talk to more people. But it was interesting to see his reluctance to do it. But after he got over that initial reluctance, in about 20 minutes, he had dropped 15 messages in Messenger. He had baited the hook and he had cast those lines with the intent, with a follow-up for a strategy that's going to help these agents in some capacity. And again, there's opportunity in every market. All of these teams They're all looking to pick up business because they are hemorrhaging right now. They're bleeding out like stuck pigs. I'm going to get in the weeds here for a second, but I want to tell you a story. We've got a local real estate agent, okay? And he's the biggest guy in town. In October, he'd done like 67 buyer side transactions. Small team. It's like 6 people. 67 buyer side transactions for 2/3 of the year. He owns the biggest, most expensive house. He has the biggest office, drives the most expensive car, that whole thing, married the prom queen, that type of thing. And I look at this and I'm saying, that person is leveraged, over leveraged. So this market is going to hurt even the big teams right now, because those big teams, they take a lot of money to keep operating. So even the big teams that you thought a couple of years ago you wouldn't have been able to get, and you probably couldn't when things were good, well, they're looking for solutions. And if you're that person who can offer up the solutions that Mike is talking about, it's a great opportunity to pick off some of these larger teams in your local market. And those are the type of relationships, if you cultivate them, will pay you for years and even decades to come. There's great opportunity. It is, like Mike said, it is the misallocation of the strategy with the form of social media. And it's way too easy and frankly lazy to say this doesn't work. It's not that the site doesn't work. It's not that the people aren't interested. The problem is you're going about it wrong. You don't know what you're doing. So understand the animal that you're dealing with. Different social media is going to have different strategies. And yeah, you can milk these cows and you can make this thing pay for you, but you got to have the right approach and you got to get out of your own damn way. Make sense?
Now, Brian, you mentioned, niche marketing. And when we first talked about it, we were talking about like loan products for loan officers, right? But niche marketing can be for realtors too. I'm a downsize specialist, we're a specialist, a probate, whatever.
Totally.
You can have a niche as a loan officer or a realtor, and your niche can literally be like, I specialize in helping realtors build their business through social media, or build their business by being better at conversion, or build their business by maintaining a better CRM, or build their business by waking up on time, or whatever the heck it is you specialize in. That can be your niche too. It doesn't necessarily have to be products. It could be like, hey, all the realtors that work with me do more deals because our referral process is so locked in that we're essentially helping you cultivate referrals through every single person that you talk to. That's a specialty right there. You get so good at it, so good at the scripting, teach your realtors what they need to do, you do what you need to do, and map it all out and take that around town. Show the realtors, hey, I have a proven process for generating referrals. This is what it looks like. This is what we do. When you work with our team, you're going to get more referrals. The average realtor that works with us gets 1 referral back for every 3 that they send to us, or something like that. So, there's lots of different niches you can have. And it goes back to our point, is being good at relationships and being nice and ethical and all that. Is it enough? I mean, it's kind of the bare minimum to get in the industry, even though there's a lot of people that aren't. We're trying really hard to chase those people out, but maybe we do, maybe we don't. But at the end of the day, if we're all really cool and nice and we're competing with each other, who's going to win? The person that learns how to take what they have in front of them and stand out and stay in front of the people that they need to stay in front of. And, keep some of these people that are going to the click lenders and the lenders of the call centers in some other state where, the tax dollars don't go there to your community. They go to this call center, some other state, some rich billionaire doesn't pay staff enough or whatever. We could go down a huge rabbit hole talking about other people, but we shouldn't. We should focus on ourselves. What can we do better with the tools that we have, and being a little bit smarter, building some processes and standing out for something that's a little bit different, but extremely helpful to the marketplace that you're in. Like Brian, you were talking about having a good strategy for local businesses. I love that. I mean, you can have a good strategy for CPAs, for financial planners, or estate planners. There's all kinds of different strategies that you can put together. You can find in the lending industry people that are doing these things, and they've gone about it very creatively, and they do it in a way that like makes them sticky and makes them memorable, makes people want to come to them. And that's what we're challenging you, the watchers, to do today. Find a way to make yourself memorable and sticky, and someone that people just think like, I have to go to Mike whenever I need this, or I have to go to Brian, because this is just what they do,
Yep, I agree. So listen, loan officers, You got to get off the wall and get out on the dance floor and cut some rug. You got to take the bull by the horns. You have to change what you're doing right now. You got to get in front of people, and you need to be vocal. You can do that through social media, or you can do that face-to-face the old-fashioned way. Either way, it has to be done if you want to stay in this business and stay relevant. Mike, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to talking with you again.
Appreciate you, Brian. We'll talk soon.